Hello and welcome to Simon on the Sofa. For all of you that are regulars to the sofa, you know that I like to bring us into the space with the sound of the singing bowl. It's one of those beautiful sounds that really bring us into our own space and allow us to show up so that we can bring you the most authentic, transparent communication that we're going to share today. So I am with a wonderful person on the sofa today who I've met probably about, I don't know, maybe 9 months or so ago, maybe maybe 6 months. It's Steve Nobel. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Simon. How are you? Thanks for inviting me on your sofa.
Pleasure. Really great to have you on the sofa. And today we're down in a new location down at the Spring. So, yeah. Where should we go with this? Always a nice flow. I think one of the reasons why I was quite excited when I asked you to sit on the sofa and you said, yeah, I'd like to have tea, we could sit on the sofa, was you could say I've been on this journey for maybe 3 or 4 years, or a change of journey for about 3 or 4 years. And when I originally met you, I really liked your groundedness, but also you being a little bit older than me, just a little.
A little bit, yeah. I'm a granddad.
You're a granddad now,
yeah.
exactly. It's a grandfather, see?
Yeah.
So you're a grandfather of this path as well.
Yeah.
It was very much, I really wanted to just talk to you, because you've been really, you could say, I don't like to separate and go this path separate from the whole path, because you could say we've been walking a path just since we've been born, but the sort of, if you want to label it just for the conversation, the spiritual stroke esoteric field, you've been walking for probably about 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have somebody with a sort of that level of experience to share on the sofa. I think it's really wonderful. So you've obviously seen a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also you're also the founder of Alternatives.
Not the founder, but a director for 11 years.
For 11 years, yeah. Which actually creates a platform for people to come and express their beliefs, if you want, and
their paths, faiths, ideas. Yeah. Many wonderful people, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Great, yeah. So that's obviously given you an insight into probably areas that you was unfamiliar with.
I've been there for nearly 20 years, but I think my journey started when I was. Well, it starts when you're born, doesn't it?
Exactly.
It's like you come into the family and you go, who are these people, and how do you relate with them? And when I was a teenager, I began to feel a calling to something more. But when you're 15, it was a bit difficult because all my friends were I was into football. I was into, going out and I couldn't drink a lot, but having a drink. And suddenly I felt a call to something different. And I was like getting confused, thought, well, what is this? And I started exploring things like, I went to the Theosophical Society at 16. And they were like, it was a bit, it's not really meant for you at this age. And I wrote to organisations like Dion Fortune and Lobson Rampo, I don't know if you heard these kind of characters. In the 70s they were around. And they all said, it's all great, but really at that time, you need to be a bit older before you even think about this path. I did yoga, I was macrobiotic at the age of 16, my parents freaked out.
What's happening to you?
Yeah, what's happening to this guy? And then when I met my ex-wife, she was very freaked out by my draw to spirituality. I went to one of the early Mind, Body, Spirit exhibitions in Olympia, and it was all very rough in those days, but it was all kind of like something's happening. I'd meet people that I thought were inspiring. There's the Beatles in the 60s and all that. But my parents were born in the generation of conservative values. They were very conservative. So it's a very confusing time. You're growing up and there's the kind of emerging spirituality from the 60s, flower power, and there's the kind of repressing, no, that's all nonsense kind of stuff. That was my family. Don't go there. So I decided, my ex-wife was kind of very much against it as well. So I decided I'll be normal. I made a decision. I'll go in the city, I'll work in a normal job, I'll get married and have children. I remember deciding that because it's just too hard. Life. Yeah, it was just too hard.
Easy life.
There was nothing around. I went to Foyle's bookshop and there was like 3 shelves of spiritual books, all on yoga or the occult. It's not like today.
No.
It was very, very different.
Totally.
Now you go into Piccadilly's, in Waterstones Piccadilly, and there's a half a floor dedicated
downstairs,
to,
right? It's just like
the third floor now.
The third floor, is it? Okay.
Self-help, mythology, angels.
Self-development.
It's just massive.
Yeah.
And so I've seen the shift through alternatives over the years. Now it's just exploded. of it, which is great. And one way it's great, and there are disadvantages to that, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. It's great that you bring up that there's disadvantages as well, because it's something that I've sort of stepped into. There's a lot of it's like sometimes I look at it like this, like we all talk in a lot of people in the spiritual field, or in, you know, whatever, the healing field, the, you know, save the planet field, if you want, you know, is very much like, yeah, you know, this is the way, right? This is the way. This is the way it is. This is the way the planet's going to be great. This is the way everybody's going to come together, unity, it's all there, and so on. But then what I notice a lot, and it'd be great to hear your views on this, is that well, actually, we're just moving into another skin of what is already there in a society anyway. So, you know, you've got fashion, you've got sport, you've got science, you've got all these different, I always look at it like, you know, when you go in a shop and you look at the magazine rack, you can pretty much know what's going on in the whole world by just looking in Mark's W.H. Smith magazine rack, you know. Obviously top shelf, we know what's going on there, and then you know, you know. And
I don't look up there.
I never look up there. I'm like, oh, I'm spiritual, you know. But the point is, you know, we know you can look there, and then we know that the self-development field, and then you know, the empowerment side is there. Now we're coming through with all these, like you said, Kindred Spirit, and a number of different magazines that are about spiritualism and angels, and all, you know, all these. I suppose you could say the esoteric world, or you know, the unknown, as it were. But sometimes I go, well, it's just another section on the bookshelf, or it's another section on the magazine rack, and it's still within the confines of the society that we're all in, just another skin. And what I also notice is a lot of people that are within those skins are still having the same experience as the people that are just into football, or just into sport, or just into the top shelf. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it's like sometimes it's to look at, well, okay, we're all saying that we're actually, maybe this is the way, but what are your views on that? Is just throwing that out there in terms of, you know,
well,
that skin.
Yeah, it's a big question, but in 2 minutes,
Yeah.
I think even with the explosion, it's still a very small percentage on the planet of, you know, the 95, 98% of people are just going, I'm going to work, I'm raising my kids, I'm doing this, and there's these quirky things over there, that's for nutcase, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that has happened, and there's a growing audience for it, and it's starting to enter mainstream conversation. That's the value of it. A bit like green issues in the 70s were like mad people who train themselves to trees. Now, it's not a mad issue anymore. It's considered, it's kind of more mainstream, it's being embraced by local authorities for recycling and all that. So I think that the conversation is growing, and eventually conversations will come in where people might start talking about space clearing and past lives and the energy. It'll be like mainstream talk. That's the kind of the thing of it.
Yeah.
But of course you can be in a spiritual path and still be screwed up, having lots of issues, or you can be playing football and feel pretty sorted.
Yeah.
It's just the way of things, isn't
totally.
it? You know?
Yeah, because like you said, it's from the beginning. It's like one journey. I was saying just a second ago, in terms of like, one of the beautiful things that I'm noticing coming from, you could say, the normal life, or even an abnormal life, the lifestyle that I come from is would probably be quite judged as quite dark and quite, you know, not a great space to be, you know, being a criminal and and coming through, you know, taking drugs and growing up in the rave era and so on. So, you know, coming from that perspective, people will go, oh, you know, that's a dark place to come from. But actually, a lot of the whole journey for me, you could say, has been spiritual. If you want to label it as
you're getting out of the box,
a journey,
in a different way.
Yeah, because the thing is that it's the questioning. Sometimes I think that spiritual people, I don't know how you feel about this, is that we question.
Yeah.
We just question a bit more of what's going on. Sometimes I feel that some people, I think they do question. Everybody's the same. I don't think anybody's different to me on this planet. We're all having this same experience of unknown. You know, it's the unknown.
Yeah.
So it's like the questioning, it's you said it this morning actually, that the questions come up, but how courageous are you to actually maybe
answer those questions?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think what you did was just explore outside the box, because there are a number of boxes in society. Conformity is a big power, isn't it? We're told to get a job, get married and all this, get a house, get a mortgage. But you know, people, you did it your way, I did it in my way. It's what are the boundaries? Where can I go outside of that box? And I think you can go into a spiritual path and put a box around you just the same way.
Yeah.
You know, I meet people all the time, and I hopefully am not like that, because I think questioning is so important. It's about questioning, not assuming anything's true. I mean, I don't know. I have a set of assumptions, but they're not like fixed. They're up for questioning all the time, because I have to go, how do I know that's true? You know, at the moment it seems to fit the kind of general theory and experience of my life, but there might come a point where it doesn't, and then, well, what's that about?
Yeah.
So I think all the great teachers like Christ and Buddha, I don't think they really came to fix people's minds, but that's what happened around them.
Yeah.
People go, oh, that's a great message. Let's fix a lot of commandments and stuff around that. And then you've got religion with hierarchies. And of course, if you go into most religions, you have to go to a priest or a monk to find the way, where you don't know it's within you.
Yeah.
And for me, the core of spirituality is a relationship question. Relationship with your authentic self, whatever that is. It's a big question, isn't it?
It's a huge
what is
question.
the authentic?
Yeah.
And we don't know. There's all these layers.
Yeah.
You don't know. So it's finding that, and then from there finding an authentic relationship to others and to something greater.
Yeah.
That's the core of it. Everything else is just like interesting furniture that we move around.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, really lovely. Beautiful is my favourite word on the sofa.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. But it's a lovely way to look at it, because I think that really opens the platform for everybody that is already exploring like that, because everybody is exploring like that. You know what you just said. What are my boundaries? You know, who am I and how authentic am I being? I was speaking to a woman recently called Jennifer, and we were talking about this, and it come up that the whole discernment and being skeptical of the own bullshit that you're speaking. You know, so in terms of like really looking at like, okay, whose thoughts am I thinking?
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying this now, this is what I think is, but is it? You know, let me delve a little bit deeper there, and also then come from that place. As you know, my thing is very much transparent communication. So really just stepping into the forefront and going, hey, this is who I am. This is how I've got to here. This is the things that I've done. But also by sharing that with you, you might throw something in now that allows me to go, oh, I never looked around there like that. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think that having that, I suppose you could say free will, but also level of acceptance and level of allowing the other person to also, step into their ability to share, even if they've not been on a journey me and you have been on. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
They've still got something rich to bring.
They're on the journey of life.
Yes.
Which is a journey,
Yeah. So it's a really lovely way of describing the journey.
But it's great to meet other people, especially with different viewpoints or different, like you come from a very different experience. And so meeting you, it's gonna go, whoa, that's a very different way of living. And it kind of what I think, how is it true in light of what you're saying? Yeah. It's great to meet people from completely different walks of life. And actually sitting here has made me think, well, what do I think about it? And as it comes in my mouth, I go, oh, that's what I think, because I just said it.
Yeah, and it just comes, doesn't it, as well? Yeah. You almost like, I think sometimes as well, people go, oh, I'm not channeling angels, or I'm not getting the message, or, I need to do more Reiki, or, and you get caught up in, like you said, limiting your ability to already tap into what you are on this magical, unfathomable, unknown experience that we're all surfing, Yeah. And I think the journey for me is, I think my point to a lot of people when they're watching these talks as well is that sometimes it sounds like I'm saying I know the way, and I even hear myself speaking sometimes like I'm actually looking, and there is an element of judgment based on my past and based on what I see people doing. So I might see them doing certain actions which I know do not serve them. Yeah. And there's a real thin line between me wanting to go, that's wrong, wake up, but also then having the awareness of the minute I'm trying to wake somebody else up, I'm falling asleep. Yeah. And also, they need their journey. Yeah. So if we could all maybe get out of the way of maybe, others' journey and our journey, we might allow that natural unfolding, which is going to happen anyway. Yeah. Without trying to control it.
You can't control it. I think there are different bits to the journey for me, if it's worth sharing.
Yes,
and I'm not saying it's true.
No, go on.
I actually, the last few days, because I'm writing this new book, and it's about the writer's journey, and I got this, and I think it's true it's absolutely true, but it kind of fits up to a point that I think for the beginning of a writer's journey or spiritual journey, the beginning stage is the kind of fool card. The fool in the tower?
Yeah, of course, yes.
It's the kind of naive, I don't know, but in the picture he's smelling a rose and stepping over a cliff, and it's just like that. It doesn't make sense in kind of mainstream wisdom. You say, watch where you're going, and there's a dog snapping at his heels, but he's drawn by something else, and I think we're drawn. And we become like these foolish people where, I don't know, I'm just going to go on this Reiki course, or I'm going to go to Mount Shasta. I don't know why, I'm just being... And it's that whole exploration, but it's a kind of fool's journey because we don't know why we're doing it. Yeah. And other people might say, why are you doing that? And you go, I don't know. You go, that's crazy. So there's that stage, I think, and that stage continues the whole of our life. There's another bit that comes in, I think, it's kind of a more heroic bit where we go, okay, I think I've got a sense of where I want to go, but but it's a bit like maybe scarier. Oh, I want to write a book, but can I write a book? Or I want to set up a company like a conscious media. Can I do that? And it's a kind of more heroic thing because you're starting to think about something more tangible, and you've got all the obstacles like the traditional hero's journey of, you know, the demons come up and the dragons. They're all internal anyway, and you get this divine help. So that's the heroic, and you get more resourceful on that journey. You go, there's bits of my skill set or qualities that maybe is missing. Where do I find them? That's kind of heroic bit, I think. And that can continue for the rest of your life, and that overlaps. And the next bit for me is the mystical bit, where you go, there's something pulling me from inside. And I mean, that's there at the beginning, but it can also be like a shamanic bit, or you go in and have an experience of meditation, or you do a shamanic journey, or you get some revelation. Like I was in the bath in 2001, and I had a voice in my head say, write this book. And it was not my voice. I'd done a lot of internal voice work, and I went, whoa, and it gave me the title, and I wrote them. 3 weeks later I got a contract. It was very freaky.
Amazing.
And then I had a real freaky experience of, I've got a deadline, now what do I do? Which is kind of the heroic bit, you know. So there's that bit, that kind of mystical bit. And then the last bit I think is like, and that goes on forever as well. And there's a kind of illuminated bit where you kind of get to a point where you got a lot of wisdom, and you know, like the Eckhart Tolle, he had this awakening. You know, you can have an awakening of some kind. Like last year for me was an awakening, and I don't know what happened. I felt I hit a brick wall, but there was an awakening with all the kind of brick wall. My life collapsed. Partnership of 12 years ended. My house is sold now, and I'm living in somewhere new. So, but it's like something in me awoke to something new, and I'm still exploring that.
Yeah.
I could feel it, like something's happening. And I'm a granddad, and there's this kind of wisdom thing, and I think, but what wisdom have I got? To share? You know, I've been on a crazy journey that most people say were crazy, but for some people that I have something to share, like
hugely, definitely.
So there's the 4 bits, and they all interwoven and weave, and there are other bits to it as well. But if my conscious mind, it helped me get these different parts of the journey, and then you can start again. So you may get there and start the fall over again.
Yeah, and it's a cycle. It's cyclical, isn't it?
In a way.
Like, you know, it's sort of like you can go through those motions again, sort of quite subtly, and then quite, you know, hugely as well in terms of like big life transformations, but then also quite small transformations as well within that, you know, within that cycle.
Definitely. And most people are scared of change, you know.
Yeah, everybody's
I'm scared of change. I've done it many times. I've given up careers. I got divorced and let go of my second kind of marriage, but I'm still scared of it. Yeah. You know, it doesn't end. Yeah, but
I think I'm learning to really embrace change more and more, which is really wonderful because it allows in a level of a letting go. You know, it's amazing when, because all of these are like tools, aren't they, that you practice. It's just something that for the people listening, it's like you have to find your own way, which is unique to you because you're an individual. You know, no one human being is the same. Everybody has their own unique journey, which is rich and full of, you know, full of wonder and experiences and so on. But then within that as well, there are tools, I suppose, or lessons or formulas, I call them, that really do help you along the way as well, aren't they? Which you know, you could say, somebody go, well, they help you, they don't help me, and that's true, but there are formulas that really help you. So in terms of like, we're talking about the Fool's Journey, but having like conscious awareness, expanding your mind to actually open to the mystical, the wonder, the beyond the box, like you said, beyond the conditioning, beyond society as we know it, beyond the idea of paying your tax and getting a job and getting married and owning a property. Beyond all of that, we're part of something so indescribable, aren't we? Yeah. Which is so rich and beautiful. And if you can just sit with that just for like, wow, this is like, whoa, you know, it gives me tingles in my stomach as I said that.
And it's almost at the time we're in, it's happening.
It's happening.
50 years ago, that energy wasn't so much there, but now it's really moving and there's cracking, the old systems are cracking at the edges, you know, the money systems.
Totally.
I reckon in 50 years, or hopefully 20 years, we'll have a completely conscious money system, which we don't have at the moment. It's based on debt. And you know, the way we live, and I think people are kind of clinging because they feel this change is happening. You know? Mayan calendars supposed to have ended the other Friday. You know,
well,
according to some.
Yeah, the planet was supposed to blow up last.
Was it?
28th of October, wasn't it? Oh, I don't know. That was one of the vibes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do what I did in 2000 and just stop and look and wait. This time I just thought, you know what, just go with the flow.
It's better to have a bottle of champagne or do something better.
It's like, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You know? I always say that as well, is that there's always, no matter which way you go, there's going to be like, as we become more and more, if you want to call it aware, more consciously aware, you're going to still get that identity of the past really clinging on. So you're going to get a lot of fear and a lot of, self-doubt and anxiety and all that building up as well. But I think when we can step into that place of awareness and go, well, you know what, that is the illusion. And when I say illusion for people listening, I don't mean illusion like, often we go, it's illusion, oh, it doesn't exist. No, it very much exists.
Yeah.
But the illusion is when you come here and observe it, it doesn't actually affect you because it isn't actually almost tangible, but it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, actually, I don't need to put myself into that. Where focus goes, energy flows. I don't need to give that any energy. No. Because, like you said about moving into the mainstream, and actually your book, which is about walking a spiritual lifestyle, which we can move into now, because I think that is what we're talking about, aren't we? We're talking about a new way of walking life, really. And some might go, it's not new. It's been around since the Vedas. It's been around for 6,000 years. The Tao Te Ching, you know, Christ, Buddha. No, they were still at a point where they were at.
Yeah.
You know, and even if they had their forward thinkers, like, you know, some of us, we're free thinkers, we're forward thinkers, some of the things we're talking about now may not manifest for 50 years, 100 years. Of course, yeah. Totally, but that's how evolution surges forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of where we're at right now, you know, why don't you throw in something, again, from the book that you're writing, but, you know, how we can show up, walk in a more, spiritually aware lifestyle.
Well, I think this energy of spirituality, however you define it, hard to define. For me, it's about relationship to self and to something bigger. It's almost like water that's seeping into everything now. You know, we're trying to keep it out, but people are sensing this, you know, in every area, relationships, money, work, health. It's coming in from, you can't keep it out now, you know. And people are embracing, you know, the health industry is exploding. One of the areas I had passion for was money. I wrote a book on it called The Prosperity Game. That was about 5-6 years ago now.
Yeah, help me out with that, Steve.
I'll give you a copy. Yeah.
I need some guidance.
I'm still by my bedside. I still read it.
Because I don't want to charge for our talk, but I should, because it's Steve Nobel on the sofa. I should be charging you all to listen to this talk.
Yeah,
so donations, please. Come on.
Okay.
No, go on.
The next book is The Enlightenment of Work. So I've taken work, because I like applied spirituality. Spirituality can be very abstract, but if you apply it to an area like relationships or money or work, then it actually has something to work with. So for me, work is an area where there's a tremendous amount of suffering and stuckness and people are very unhappy. So I took that area and I applied a kind of the Buddhist framework of the Four Noble Truths. There is suffering, there's a way out of suffering, you know. So and when you look at the area of work, there's millions, perhaps billions of suffering. You know, sweatshops around the world, or even like my dad used to go, and he was a printer for many years. I used to see him going to work and come home like not lifeless. He wasn't happy. It wasn't his passion, but at that time you just did it, bread on the table. Now there's this conversation around finding the work you love. But you know, we were talking in the car coming here, the counter conversation is, I've still got my family to feed.
Yes.
I can't afford the luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
And for me, I walked the journey when my kids were 9 and 13. It was about a spiritual path, and my ex-wife said to me, you're not walking that path, basically. And so it was a choice of walking it or not, and I decided I'm going to walk it because in a way it's a gift to me and a gift to my children.
Yes.
If I said no, I'd have ended up like my father, going to work and coming back like kind of lifeless and dead. So I walked the journey, and my kids still look at me and go, Dad, this kind of work you do, it's crazy, isn't it? You know, all this alternative stuff. But then I told my daughter, yeah, you know what? I had 2 tea breaks a day. We sit, we chill. And she went, what?
Yeah.
You go and have these long tea breaks? Yeah, it's the most creative time. She said, I want to work where you work.
Yeah, of course.
So it's gone from kind of crazy to, that's kind of really cool. And my kids have been to some of the lectures. My son met Tony Buzan, the mind mapping guy, when he was like 13. So he's like, Dad, you meet some interesting people.
Yeah.
He's still not completely sure. So now I've got my grandkids coming up, and I'm with them from a different point of view.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really looking at my granddaughters and thinking, how can I enhance their creativity? Because at that age, their brain's going crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the people around them are going, you know, this is the way we do things.
Stay like that, do nothing, become an electrician.
A little bit like that. And I want to be this kind of crazy maverick, kind of trickster energy going, no, you know what, there's a whole mad world out there. Why don't you go? And I used to take my granddaughter to like helter-skelter rides and things that she'd like. But I thought it was a great creative journey for me. I wanted to come out the box, you know, we go and explore horses or whatever together.
Yeah. Take them into nature, explore, totally.
And to find out what really drives her, what's her core. She's a great little character. I've got two actually, the other one's 10 months. Can't quite do that.
So you're
yet,
like the coolest grandfather that's living at the moment.
Yeah, come on, let's go out.
Where's Granddad? You know what I mean? I don't want to sit in here playing Xbox. I want to go out with Granddad and see the world and explore nature.
Oh yeah, I bought her the Tangled Walt Disney DVD. It's great DVD. I've watched it about 6 times with her.
You bought it for you.
It's Rapunzel. It's a great story, you know, of her being trapped. It's a great metaphor. You know, she's trapped in this tower, and this guy comes along, and she wants to get out there and see life and see what are these lanterns on the horizon, which are signifying her birth, her true calling, and who she truly is. So it's actually a great hero's journey as well.
Wonderful.
So we're sitting there watching that, and I'm going, yeah, that's the journey. But she's 2. She's just going, oh, I've got a Rapunzel dolly, and it's great. I can comb its hair. But it's great, you know.
Yeah, but also it's very powerful what you're saying there as well, because we are talking about what a lot of people are not aware of is that we're moving into the conditioning now. You know, it's a lovely place to enter. Is that the conditioning and the conforming and the unawareness of how powerful our energy is on the youth of today, on the children, and what we do bring to them from the way that we show up, the way we speak, the way we touch, the way we hold a space is really influential on them. But we, you know, again, if we're moving into a more conscious, aware space, even just having that changes a lot of how you interact. Yeah. Because often it's just, you know, it's very much like we have children and we don't really see the responsibility and what I suppose the role we have as adults to really, like you said, nurture that creativity.
Yeah, conscious parenting.
Yeah, conscious parenting.
Because what my parents did, and most parents do the best that they can, but they had a value set that they got from their parents, and it worked. But then it stopped working around the time I was starting to grow up. You know, because my grandparents had a job for life, my father had a job for life practically. And then all that started to shift and change. You know, you're a Christian, there's no other choice. All that changed. Within my generation, everything shifted. So I was like confused, but now I've got my values, which I don't want to impose on my kids. I want to say, this is one possibility. Yeah. Because they're going to have a different set of values, and I think my grandkids will have a different set of values. Yeah. It's really becoming, and so that's the journey they're on. We've got to hold the space saying, what is it you, as this generation, want to bring here? Yes. Rather than us going, this is it. Yeah. We've got the spiritual journey. This is the way it is. Yeah. If we do that, then we're not doing them a service, I think. Yeah, and that's again powerful. I know I'm agreeing. I have to agree with him because it's powerful stuff. It's you can disagree.
No, but I'm not going to disagree. I'm going to say that this is a Western thing as well. We have to remember that this way of thinking as well that we're even talking, which we love and we've entered into, is so not available for so many people, you know, across the world. And, you know, they're just not even able to go into that space of that psychological exploration. And what's also, I said to my friend the other day who's just got a recent baby, I said that they've come to teach us something. Yeah, yes, definitely. Right? Yeah. You can, if you observe a child and actually see what they're bringing you, I mean, they're bringing you unconditional love instantly. So if you really want to know what unconditional love is like, you know, experience it from a child, become present with a child. Yeah. But then also on top of that, you know, understanding again that they are, if you want to, I don't really say future, but they are the evolution of our species. They are. So actually when you start to see them and you just judge them as well and put up all this weight and baggage and so on them, actually understand what their role is. Yeah. You know, because actually their role is more important than our role. They're taking on the planet. We're leaving it. Yeah, we're leaving it in despair. We're on the way out. They're on the way in, you know. I think of legacy. As a grandparent particularly, I think, what is the legacy that in my life I've helped to create for them? A possibility for them. Possibilities so they can explore. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you know, in a limited way through alternatives, it's still a drop in the ocean really, or books or talks. It's still very, but all those drops add up. If a lot of people are doing it, it adds up to something great, you know. But those kids can go and go, oh, there's all this possibility, you know, go on the net and you can find stuff around confidence or self-esteem or worth. And I spend one day a week with my granddaughter. I just follow her. She wants to go, okay, let's do that. So she's got this exploration Leo spirit. She's a little Leo, she's off. And I'm just like following, thinking, she's not afraid. She just goes, you know, staircase, I'm going to climb it. All right, and I'm going to jump down. Fine, let's do that, you know. Yeah, totally. And
she's taught me so much about creativity, and so I'm learning again how to be childlike. I think as adults we become childish sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I know lots of people who video games and pub. You know, and it's escape from the world. I just want to get away from the world. But we can become childlike, where we actually remember that we've got creativity, we've got a kind of curiosity to explore. And that's what kids have got, curiosity. And if we forget that, Erik Erikson, you know, the developmental psychologist.
No, I don't know.
He's brilliant. He said there's a stage we hit between 25 and 65 where we have a choice between, what's he call it, either generation, we generate things, or we stagnate. That's the key choice of that stage. From 25 to 64, I think he says. So with that choice, we can go, I'm just going to do the job, have the drink, put the bread on the table. That's stagnation, because we're just kind of spiraling down. Or I can be curious, I can think, what new project, what else can I do? That's generating, because then when you're in that position, you can pass something real to the generation coming. That's what I feel.
Powerful.
You're speechless now.
It's nice to be speechless. I like that, you know, because we can always add more. Sometimes we just need to sit with that, you know, because it's you know, we just shared a lot in a short time.
It's a lot, isn't it? I'm breathless now. Where did all that come from?
Because you know what you've just shared.
What did you give me in this tea? What was it?
That's that special green tea that I get. But you know, there's just so much there. It's so, you know, this is what I love about these conversations. They're just so, they're so rich. I mean, we could go off in a whole, we could go anywhere now. We only have a couple of minutes, so I think we're sort of bringing it in. But you know, there's so much there. I think what's really beautiful for me is that we're at a time in evolution where we really do have a choice. In terms of, you could say, some call it how karmic unfolding, but you could say it's our choice of what we really bring to the evolution of our species, and that on a global, cosmic, universal level. And some people will hear that and just go, well, you know, man, I just need to find some money to pay the bills this month. You know, it's like, well, I'm not thinking about global evolution, Simon. Man, you're too far out there. You've taken some whatever you might, funny green tea, whatever it might be, you know. But that's how huge your role is. I think that's the bottom line, is that, you know, you are having a ripple effect of an energetic field that, you know, even if I die tomorrow and leave this body, there's still going to be this ripple of energetic field. So what do you want to be a part of in your life?
And it does have big effects on the world stage, because I've heard that, you know, Deepak Chopra was an advisor to Clinton. You know, Deepak Chopra. And there's another guy who created spiral dynamics, I forget his name, what was it? Don Beck, was an advisor to Nelson Mandela, who helped South Africa transit from violence to more peaceful one. So it is rippling down, you know. There are still countries where we're still invading countries.
There's wars everywhere, you know, of course, you know.
But I was, 1 million people demonstrated against invading, was it Iraq or Afghanistan? I was one of that, and it was a truly peaceful demonstration. It was fantastic, and yet the lead, there was a choice. Do we? And I think we look at that now on the grass level and go, isn't it mad that we still do that? That 1 million civilians were killed and bombed for what? For what purpose? In the end, it's nothing apart from generations of hate. But I think people more and more are getting it.
They are. The ripple is rippling.
It's no more war is a noble thing, and let's go and Britain and, you know...
borders and... It's all, I mean, but what a beautiful time to be alive. Rather than going, oh, it's all crap, it's all falling apart, but what a wonderful, rich time to be alive.
It's chaos. But in the chaos, something else is being born.
There's peace within the chaos. In that acceptance of the chaos, we are part of the chaos unfolding.
Stars are born within chaos, you know, so that is... You have to have chaos for something new to emerge. That's why it has there's no clear transition of that to that. It's always like chaotic.
No chaos, utopia. Utopia. No. It's all beautiful. It's all utopia. It's all chaos. It's all
chaos
wonderful.
in the self. You're going to go. Anytime you hit a time of change, you're going to feel chaotic. What am I doing? And that is perfect. It's in the times of chaos the greatest stuff is born. Actually, I think. So.
Right. Repeat that.
It's in the times of greatest
to the world.
It's in the times of greatest chaos that I forgot what I said now. That something amazing is born, or some new creativity is born.
And the peace is born as well.
Peace is born.
So I'm just want to wrap it up there because we've come to an end. This is Steve Nobel. We didn't plan to wear the same scarves This is a total synchronistic,
We did
beautiful. We phoned up and said, "You're going to wear your favourite scarf." So thank you as always for listening to the sofa. I mean, the richness that's come out there and what we could go into is, is diverse. But I think, Steve just said you would have heard what he said prior to what he said at the end, and I think that is a key message. So, as always, whatever your journey or wherever your journey takes you, we would like to say, what would we like to say? Peace.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. And let's have a hug.
Thank you, that's great.